everyone, my name is Sally McFadden and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the United States. You will find that suite of products in the January through June mini catalog. It has so many beautiful elements, I just didn't want it to slip away and not have a chance to play with it some more. I hope that you enjoy my cards and let's make something together today. Let's flip the camera down and get started. Today we are going to be working with the Fine Art Gallery suite of products, and there are so many different elements to this suite that we couldn't possibly get through them all. So we are going to talk about a few things and make a card together, a fun fold card. And I just have a few extra things that I'd like to show you. This first card, I kind of cased this straight from the catalog, and it's in the January to June catalog. And this paper, this specialty paper, is on the retirement list. That last chance sale will start on June the 1st. And so these will go as supplies last. And I'm telling you, this whole pack of paper, every sheet is lovely. And you will cry really big tears if you miss out on this, if you haven't got it yet. But I went straight to that January to June catalog, and I kind of cased a card out of the catalog, and that means copy and share everything. And they had theirs kind of going in a strip, and my strip was a little leftover, and so I didn't have that much. So I just tore mine, and then I wadded it up in a ball and unwrinkled it because it's already kind of has that look. And so I popped it up on dimensionals. I have this beautiful ribbon that comes with it, with that suite. And then I wanted to show you how I am going to put this one greeting on here. These are what we call foam adhesive sheets. And I don't use them very often, and that's why I wanted to show them to you. They are like a dimensional that is solid. And I just, for this one that I had made, I just took this Early Espresso paper and put on here and then used our alphabet dies to cut something out because putting adhesive on each one of those letters would kind of be a nightmare. They come like this. And they come in a square and they just have adhesive on both sides, exactly like a dimensional, just not stamped out, you know, and have those little cut lines in there for each individual dimensional. I want to say you get 6. Yes, you get 6 sheets, and those will last you for quite a long time. This die that comes in the Fine Art Floral Gallery suite of products says, just want to say. And I thought, okay, let's pop that up on here. But I wanted to show you how it was done. Now, I took it to my die cutting machine across the way, and I actually ran it through 2 times. I ran it through face down the first time, and then I flipped it and ran it face up the second time. Sometimes you just have to run it back and through a few times. It just really kind of depends, like if it's designer series. Paper is thinner, so that cuts easier. Cardstock's a little thicker. If you used a thick cardstock, that would be even thicker. So I wanted to show you these holes. We're going to punch out with our Take Your Pick tool. And that's going to help release the die itself from this adhesive sheet, this foam adhesive sheet. Because we also have adhesive sheets that's just like sticky, that's kind of the same thing, only it's not puffed up. So we have this for our J, and let's just kind of sit it here. And sometimes they can be a little boogery. Okay. Got rid of that J, and then let's just go ahead and separate the rest of this out of this sheet. And it's going to come out as 3 separate words. And you just have to take your time, because if it didn't quite cut the whole way through that backing paper, the foam is cut, but it just might not be cut through that tearaway sheet. So you just have to take your time, work with it, separate it out. I will be right back here after I get this punched out. Okay, I'm back and I'm just working on how to put out these letters, how I want to space them out. And they just, like I say, they just pull off there, and it makes it easy to stick it onto your card. And I know that I have to space this pretty tightly to get these words across this little strip that I've made. So we're just going to work with that. And it is kind of lump and bumpy because I've got dimensionals under here and ribbon. But this was just kind of one of those artsy kind of cards that I wanted to make. And it would probably be one that I just hand to somebody versus sending it in the mail. But I think I still could do that. Okay, just want to. And sometimes these come off just a little letter at a time. You just kind of have to work your way through that. I just want to say, yay, and none of that hangs off. And then I have our little dot for our J. Just gonna go right there. So it just adds another little different element, and I like that. And then on the inside, I haven't put a greeting in there, but I'll probably put like thank you or happy birthday, one of those other sentiments from this set in there. Or I may put it out here, I'm not sure. But I just wanted to show you how this die worked and how these foam adhesive sheets work. And I will say, I mean, it looked like I struggled with this, but it was just really, I probably should have run it through the embossing machine one more pass and it would have been fine. But it is so much easier to do it with cardstock. So don't shy away from it just because this was a little bit more time consuming. And then we'll get on to our card for the day. I also want to make mention that while the paper is retiring, the stamps and the dies are not. However, that 10% discount that you get by purchasing the dies and the stamps in a bundle, that will be ending at the end of June. The paper is going to be while supplies last. I have no way of knowing this, but I really feel that it's going to sell out pretty quickly. Okay, here's our card base. I put the scoring down, and I will have all of these measurements on my blog post. We're going to give these a nice score. This is just a sweet little fun fold, and it is perfect for all of this gorgeous designer series paper that most every piece, not quite all of them work 100% together, but the majority of them do. Let's kind of lay this out. There's just a little bit of cutting, but don't let that intimidate you. I just kind of want to see how I want this card to go. Okay, I think let's kind of just fold this up and see how that's going to showcase all of that beautiful paper. That is what I want. This is exactly how I want it to lay out. Let's bring in our multi-purpose glue and just adhere these layers down. And you know, this paper pack also has a couple of those sheets, you know, that you can just cut through the center and then at 4 inches and you just use those as card fronts, just like this. This is one of those sheets here that if this were just a card front right here, just look how beautiful it is all on its own. All you would really need to do is add a greeting and you would have a card. So let's put it on our greeting writing page. This is nice, one of those nice layouts if you don't really like to write a lot on your card. Couldn't really decide what type of card this would be. But I thought, well, let's do congratulations. That can mean a lot of things. At this time of year, there are graduations, there are lots of wedding showers, bridal showers, weddings, engagement parties, all those kinds of things. I think especially this year when we're all really wanting to get back out and be with our friends, that there are going to be a lot of get-togethers. This could be a housewarming. This could be all sorts of different kinds of events. It's just, I love all of the colors. Poppy Parade, Blackberry Bliss, Bumblebee. This is a Bumblebee card base, by the way. And let's put this little darker bit toward the bottom, just to make it look weighted correctly. And I'm just eyeballing it as best as I can to get these in the middle. If you are so super OCD, you know, use your grid paper, a ruler, whatever you need to, but I think that this is close enough for the average Joe. And if you have any little marks from your trimmer, you can just kind of go over those a little bit. And then we're going to fold this over. Actually, let's just flip the whole thing. Well, you know what? I do want to do it this way because we kind of want to make sure that the bottoms line up. That is probably the very best way. So this card, even though it's a fun fold card, if you have a friend that's never stamped before, or if you're just getting started, it's really just cutting and gluing. A lot of it is just assembly. There could be as much stamping as you want or as little. And then let's just fold this up and see how pretty that is. Now we're going to make a belly band for this card. I have another strip of Bumblebee cardstock, and I didn't score this. I'm going to just kind of fold it around. It'll kind of score itself. And you want it not to be super loose, so I got it tight and then I kind of just backed it off a little bit. And I have my Seal Plus adhesive because this is really strong. And let's bring just a couple little passes of that down. And like I say, I know that where it's tight, and I'm just going to kind of back it back just a hair so that we can get this on and off easily. Let's just score that. let's just rub that down. If you want to score it, you can score it there. That is fine. And then let's move this aside for a minute and work on our decoration for our belly band. I use the Stitch So Sweetly dies. Okay, I'm putting some of the Seal Plus on that just because I have it out. Okay, then let's line this up and adhere it together. And it maybe can just come over this way a little bit. But I think it's pretty good. And then the other stamp in there is a very large, it's shaped like this. You'll see the shape better. It's just a spray of florals and leaves. And I cut two because the first one I cut green, and then I cut this part off of it, of the yellow one, of the Bumble Bee one, and glued it on top. I also have our large feature flower and a stem with leaves, and you will see that this flower has gold on it, and that is the gold leafing. We have the heat and stick powder and then the gold leafing. I am going to take a piece of this Seal Plus, and I am going to put the stem on our large flower. Okay, I've laid out our flower, and this, we could be done just like this. It would be great just as the focal image, but I kind of want to layer together these two to look kind of more a little bit like a bouquet. And kind of want to see, yes, I don't want it so big. I want it to overhang a little bit, but not a super amount. Okay, I think this is about how I want it. You just play with yours, see how you would like it to go. I will put more seal down. I'm going to stay away from that top area because if it overhangs, I don't want it to stick to my card. So I just want to be a little bit careful of that. And I just want to make sure there's enough adhesive kind of connecting these. So I'm just going to put some liquid adhesive right in this area. We don't want too much, but we want to make sure that it holds together. Now I feel like my hands are totally stuck together because this Seal Plus is really, really sticky. I think I'm going to go ahead and put it down. And then if I find that I need to correct any place to add a little extra in, I will do that after it dries. Okay, I've given this some time to dry. And I want to come in here with this Seal Plus. I want to kind of start it maybe a little bit, but I just want to put some right over this general area. Not too much, we can add more, but it's kind of hard to take away. Okay, I have my ribbon scissors, and I will say this tends to fray. And so I really suggest you have to cut this with your sharp scissors. I tried to cut another one with my regular ones and it just doesn't go well. And then we're just going to put this on right into that Seal Plus adhesive. I haven't tried to use like fray check or anything on this ribbon. I may have to do some experimenting and see if that works. Let's bring our card back in. And we know we're going to put it right in the center, which is right about here. And so let's just put our Seal Plus. We know we don't have a super wide area, but we want to get some good adhesive on there. And let's just kind of line that up. Give it a slight press just to make sure none of that adhesive is hanging off on either side. So I think we're good in this area. And we're just going to push it down. And what a beautiful, beautiful card. Love that. It's very, very sparkly, but not too much. I like that. And then it just simply slides off and opens out. I don't think this would be an issue to mail this card. I don't think this one would be too thick. You may just need to put some extra postage on it. I just don't know with weight, since we're using more paper, what that would look like. Since we didn't stamp a flower together for a card, I thought we could do it on the envelope. And we want to have our piercing mat underneath of us because this is photopolymer. And for the leaf, it's just simply how, just a normal stamp. Okay, and then, but then we have our Bumble Bee, and you can see on my pad, it's been well loved. I have had so much fun playing with this, but you want to take this larger stamp, this one that's more solid, and you get it inked up, and you're going to go on a piece of scrap, and then this little triangular notch is kind of the bottom, and you're just going to put that on, and you want that one to be a little bit lighter than your second one. And see how this one's not as filled in. We just bring this in straight, and it's kind of what we call, like the Pioneer Woman, we call it rustic. It doesn't fit exactly, it's just close. But isn't that so beautiful? Now, if you wanted that gold leafing on there, you would just use this stamp in your Versamark, stamp it on here wherever you want, and then you put the heat and stick powder on it like you would embossing powder. You would heat it up just a little bit though, because it will burn, and then you take it straight into that gold leafing and dip it in there, and you press it down, and then you just kind of rub off the excess. Super easy. Looks way more complicated than what it is. So I love our fun fold card for today. I think that's just very happy. I have a few, like I said, I have a few more. Don't forget about our card that we finished up at the beginning of the video. This suite just has so many elements to it, and so many different colors that maybe I wouldn't have put together. So I love it. And it has nice sentiments that are just crisp and straight. And then there's a short one and a long one of this die, and that's awesome. And then I just simply did a strip on the inside. I'm thinking of, you could just mean all kind of things too. And again, this one has like triple layers. I just cut things apart and pieced them together and added that ribbon, and it just turned out so cute. Another element to this suite is the acetate paper. And I don't know how well this is going to photograph. It is probably glaring, but it is just this, like a window sheet that's printed on. And there are 3, and they fit. You just have to play with them and get them to line up. They fit right on top of these images on the paper. You don't have to use them that way, but I chose to today. And just that little fold, you could put that anywhere on your card. I think it just is such a pretty, springy looking card. And again, that best wishes falls into all of those parties that are going on. This one I kind of got carried away with. I did the Blackberry Bliss on here, and this card is Blackberry Bliss. And this is a way to use that ribbon and you don't have to worry about it fraying. It's just to wrap it around your cardstock, and I scotch taped it on the back really well, you know, at the end, so I know it's not going to fray out. But I just took several flowers, 3 big flowers. This is one of the smaller flower that has a die for it also. A piece off of that little bouquet piece, and I just did some of the little, I don't even know what you would call them, just a sprig off of that as well. Again, I did Best Wishes. These are just the kind of cards that I needed right now. Took some of the gold foil and made just 1/8 of an inch bigger than our first layer, and I thought it just really popped off of this Blackberry Bliss. And I don't know what I probably will just leave this blank in the inside and just write a message on there. But I just thought that was just lovely too. And it's hard to see, but I did emboss with the embossing folder that came with this, and it just makes it kind of have like a speckled look to it, like somebody took their palette knife, the artist did, and created like a plaster kind of thing, or thick paint, how sometimes it'll glob up like that. That's kind of what this background is. So here are all the cards that I made at this sitting, and I just love them. I just think they're all so happy and pretty, and they're lovely for this time of year. As always, remember to be kind, send a card, and do something creative. Bye-bye.